Hello, Scorpio, Scorpio rising and Scorpio moon people. This is your weekly astrological and card horoscope for the week starting November 20th, 2017. And a quick reminder for all of you out there, remember, if you ever want to get a session with me, you do need to go to my website, integrativemysticism.com. It's the same place you would go to either schedule a session or order a downloadable video file. So, what is going on with your astrology this week? Well, on Tuesday, we have Venus, planet of love, harmony, and attraction in your first house of self, forming a lovely trine to Pluto in your third house of communications, pacts, and promises. And it does look like a promise will be fulfilled this week that you may have forgotten about. Sometimes we tend to see Venus sextile to Pluto, creating somebody coming to help you or making good, paying back some kind of life debt kind of situation. And, you know, also when it comes to the love department, you may actually find that you are sort of driven to or given to an opportunity to meet somebody who is just a short drive away, for those of you single and looking. Later on in the week, on Friday, we do have Mercury, planet of communications, haste, and speed, in your second house of earned income and employment, forming a tense square to Chiron, currently in your ninth house of... Sorry, your fifth house of love and romance, and relationships with your kids. I was looking at something else there. It's a big 9 there. I'm gonna move that. Anyway, a tense square to your fifth house of love, romance, relationships with your kids, and your employment sector. So what tends to happen with this is that there has to be a bit of a sit-down going on. This is a conversation about either fair responsibility or perhaps even an issue going on the home front about either home income, income shared between partners, or perhaps how much, again, you are sharing or spending on one of your children. Now, this may be something that comes up that we didn't want to bring up in the past, but it will be something absolutely necessary to address later on at the end of this week. We may be finding out about a financial challenge that somebody is going through that they don't seem to want to or don't know how to solve themselves, but instead of actually fixing it, they're actually just sort of so glad the conversation's over and we'll just bring it up again later. I think the buck has to stop here, okay? So what's going on with your cards this week? Well, for your spiritual advice, we do have the card of the Seer. And the Seer's prompt is basically saying, again, follow your intuition. Now, when we talk about this as spiritual advice, it's important to pay attention to where intuition does require discernment. A lot of people I've done readings for, and a lot of people I've met, even in the spiritual community, they confuse emotional reaction and gut reaction or gut reference with intuition. It's not the same thing. Just because something reminds you of something in your past doesn't mean it's the same thing. And so when we talk about following your intuition, make sure it's the intuition you're following in the first place before you even go there. Usually with the Seer card, it can talk about a need to pay attention to impressions that you're going to be getting this week, even though it may seem out of context with conversations, with documents being shared around. You may be kind of picking up on what people are saying and what they are not saying, what's being omitted from conversations this week, and it's important to pay attention to that. People may be not necessarily doing it to be negative or to be cruel or to be deceitful, but you may be finding out that, you know, this week you have to pay attention to what's not being said. Look for subtext this week. But again, remember, subtext is not, it's not the gut memory. It is something brand new, and it's going to be new information, but it may be something you need to trust. If something doesn't sit right, something doesn't feel right, you heard a different message behind the words one of your friends said, and he or she said this, and we heard this. It may be what you heard. So what's going on with your Earth sector? Well, when your Earth sector comes, when it comes to your work and finances, we have the Three of Swords reversed. And we need to pay attention to temporary solutions this week, or temporary fixes that are not full-on fixes. This could be something proposed by a job that you are working in, or again, maybe a financial situation that you're a part of. The Three of Swords reversed is basically saying, we do have a temporary fix, it's a short-term fix. Usually this card's fixes tends to go for about 60 to 90 days. And this could be something that is the tourniquet that we need, especially if there's an issue going on at work, whether it's an extension on a deadline, or possibly a project that's unrealistic. Maybe it's a financial expense that we're dealing with at home. But the Three of Swords reversed is saying, again, it is not permanent, and people are going to be acting like it's permanent. You need to make sure that, you know, use this deadline to fix the solution 100%. It will be an extension of some kind, whether it's extended deadline or just more funds, but it's not the permanent be-all end-all fix. We have more time to find that, but don't fall into the mindset of the crowd or other people involved in this situation who seem to be just sort of, okay, great, we'll just cross that bridge when we come to it. No, that bridge is coming soon, okay? It's not meant to be scary, it's just meant to be helpful. For your communications with air, when it comes to your friends, your relatives, and the others in your life, we do have the Seven of Cups upright. And this week may prove to be a bit busy for a lot of you Scorpio people. You may be feeling like you're kind of pulled between multiple priorities. Obviously, happy Thanksgiving for those of you who are in the US. But with the Seven of Cups, this could indicate a lot of double booking, a lot of overcommitting, and a lot of people kind of expecting you to be everywhere at once. And usually with the Seven of Cups, it's important to pay attention to where we need to narrow our availability before it gets out of hand. If you say you're going to be at that party, you're going to be doing this thing, or you're going to help that person move, you're going to be, working on said day. The Seven of Cups upright is basically saying this week, friends and relatives are going to be, again, expecting you to be everywhere. This could be a good thing, but the Seven of Cups upright can also indicate a need to pay attention to where a person is decidedly not caring about what else could be going on. If they're allowing you to give your input on when something should be done, do not leave it up to them, because they will not be taking other things into consideration. For your challenge this week with fire, we do have the Knight of Wands reversed. And the Knight of Wands reversed as a challenge can indicate, again, bailing, flaking, or people not being able to commit. Usually with the Knight of Wands reversed, we see distractions and we see double booking. This could be somebody else in your life, an Aries, Leo, or a Sagittarius, or perhaps somebody, again, making those plans for you and they fall through. I've seen this card show up for somebody who makes the plans and doesn't even attend their own event. And usually with the Knight of Wands reversed, it's important to pay attention to where, this is going to create, a bit of a problem in this friendship, or in this group, or in this family situation this person's involved in. We may be needing this person's active involvement. We may be needing this person's commitment to follow through with this. Or else, a lot of other people are going to be either just disappointed, or perhaps there is actually more riding on it than simply attendance. Some people don't care about that. And your challenge may be actually getting this person to care. Normally what I get from this card is say, screw it, just kick them out. But for right now, for some reason, I'm just getting a vibe that you need to make them care more than they're bothering to care. For your emotions with water and your romantic life, we do have the Eight of Wands reversed. And again, this week we have some weird misfires going on, some misunderstandings that need some serious clearing up. Usually with the Eight of Wands reversed, it's not necessarily the end of the world, but there seems to be some kind of delay or misunderstanding, and a partner or somebody that we're with seems to be trying to get something done faster than we're ready to do it. Now, it might not, again, it could be completely innocent. It might just be a situation where this person misunderstood you, but again, there could be some broken hearts, or some disappointment if a person thought you meant, say, this Friday when you meant next Friday. The Eight of Wands reversed can indicate as well that we may have to all kind of sit down with a partner or perhaps even a new person and talk about where something does need to be delayed for necessity. Maybe there's something coming up too soon, there's something coming up too fast for both of us to be prepared for. It doesn't have to be a bad card. This may be something your partner is also well aware of, but we're just not addressing it because we're probably both keeping up a good front, just to be nice to each other. It's a sweet misunderstanding, but we can clear it up. So that is your horoscope, Scorpio. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you ever want to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.